Coming up is not in the schedule for today. He was scheduled for last night, and he graciously gave up his slot so that someone could go make a flight. So I'd like to present Dr. Harry Kloor, who's going to be speaking on the subject Avatar, XPRIZE, and Industries. Harry's an interesting fellow. I'd encourage you to read the bio on page 19. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The teaser is he's a filmmaker, a scientist, educator, inventor, entrepreneur, ghost hunter, and professional troublemaker. So again, we don't have too many ghost hunters up here. We've had an ex-president. But Harry, come on up and we'll get you set up with your clicker. I've got your clicker right here. And he was part of the original XPRIZE Foundation team. And so he's going to talk about what's next.
So actually, my talk was supposed to be at 11:45 this morning, not last night. But so a year ago, I was here presenting. And by the way, for those of you who end up asking questions at the end, I'm going to be giving away these T-shirts. And then if we have left over, you can see me. The reason these are significant is they're now selling for up to $100 because of something I will tell you in the talk. I'm going to give one to the cameraman so he'll take good shots of me. So this is Avatar Industries. It's powered by real intelligence. This is what the difference is. Okay, a robot is something that's powered by artificial intelligence. An avatar is a robot that's powered by you, by real intelligence. It will have a subconscious, which will be a partial AI. So that's just a quick thing, and I'm going to go lightning speed on this talk. The difference here is you have an artificial body. You're controlled primarily by a human. You have a visual system, which is either a VR or MR for being able to see through the robot, an audio system for hearing and speaking in any language, by the way, sensors for haptics for feeling and touching, and motion capture and sensors for movement. Now, I know this sounds like complete science fiction, and of course, you've all seen the movie Avatar, and some of you have seen the movie Surrogates, and maybe even some of you saw a movie called Something Sleepers, but this is all real.
Imagine coming into a room in your office, the mall, or at your house. You slip on a haptic suit, which will enable you to touch and feel via sensors in the robot avatar. You put on a virtual or mixed reality headset, or better yet, put in some VR contacts and earbuds. These will enable you to see and hear via the robot's eyes and ears. You step on a unidirectional treadmill, and with a gesture, activate motion capture cameras so that every motion is captured, then transmitted across the globe into a robot. As you move, so will it. And via universal voice translator and the mics in your haptic suit, as you speak, so will it. But in any language needed. But wait, you don't own a robot, do you? No problem.
Don't worry, I'll make sure that there are plenty for you to inhabit. Okay, very quickly, these are the core technologies. I actually dreamed up the idea of avatars in this incarnation when I was about 9 years old from reading 2 different books. The concept of avatars, of course, goes back 5,000 years when Vishnu came down in 13 or 12 different bodies. The primary core technologies, again, are VR and AR, haptics, robotics, sensor technologies, and power density. And then enablers are the Internet of Things, global Internet adoption, brain-machine interfaces, processing power, and AI deep learning. Without going into all those, if you want to learn more about it, I can fill you in. The point is even 5 years ago, avatars would have been completely and utterly impossible. The reason is the state of these are all exponential technologies, and their growth rate has been doubling. That means everything before it each year. So why an avatar? Well, very quickly, you can do a lot of cool stuff with VR and AR, but you can't have any true physical manipulation. You're not actually having a physical presence. For instance, I paid a fortune yesterday, as many of you may have if you delayed buying your air tickets to get here. Of course, if I had an avatar, I could just avatar in and also mingle with you tonight at dinner. Now, AI has a great limit, and some would say you've been sold a bill of goods. See, the problem with AI is it requires very specific programming. An AI that can wash every dish every fork, every spoon and plate in the world, still couldn't be told to go out and wash the car. A 5-year-old child who could wash just a cup would easily be able to accomplish that task, though it would probably come in pretty soaking wet. The potential of avatars is enormous. What I am talking about is nothing less than teleportation and then beyond. It's not just that you can move anywhere in the future when you have a humanoidal body, but eventually we'll have a variety of other bodies. So you'll be able to move into, you want to be a tiger, you want to be a dragon, you want to be microscopic, you want to be a giant. Those will also be possible. Also, every human experience that is through an avatar will be recorded and you can relive it. So your grandchildren can relive your experiences. You can relive your experiences. In addition, my catchphrase here is do anything, anywhere. That's because through avatars in the future, you'll literally be able to do anything. Doesn't matter if you're not an expert tennis player or a cook, because the skills that have been put into the AI subconscious will then be your skills when you inhabit that avatar. The only way to solve many of these is if you have avatars. Why? That's a pretty outlandish, bold statement. The reason is you can do your checking. Over $1 trillion is given away now, both in cash and in equipment. There are a lot of generous people who go around the world. That supplies you perhaps with 1% of the people you need. The problem is most of the people you need have a job, they have a career, they have a family, they have their own social circles, they have their own local environment, and so the things that they contribute to are in their own locality. However, with avatars, I could go to every doctor, every teacher, every engineer, every architect and say, hey, can I have a day of this, just 8 hours for the whole year? And by the way, you don't have to do anything. You can do it from your house, from your office. I guarantee you, you will have plenty of labor. Avatars erase locality. They make the world one place, but at the same time, preserving all the cultures. And remember, when you're in an avatar body, you'll be able to speak every language and understand it. And since you have partial AI, you'll be able to understand the context as well. There's an infinite number of applications, quite literally, because humans can do an infinite number of things.
Life safer and better.
This is from a movie which is where they're using many of the techniques that we're talking about. He's got, I assume, VR contacts that he's seeing through those robots. These systems are very easy to build actually now because they're literally in a tethered system. We have a home care crisis around the world, especially in Asia, and it'll just continue to spread. In fact, it's so bad in China that they now have orphanages for elderly. Obviously, one of our first applications will be in industrial mining. There are many, many billions of dollars worth of mining equipment. They're already starting to have autonomous vehicles in mining, but with an avatar, I can rip out a seat, put the avatar in, because the initial avatars will not have legs, and take over control of any vehicle. It could be a car, it could be a plane, it could be a mining vehicle. And if you're like me, I wouldn't mind taking the day off and visiting my friends around the world in 5 continents. This one's more like, let's say 12 years off maybe 10, because it'd be great just to be able to climb and do any activity. Now, any rescue worker can participate anywhere in the world. And by the way, even one who had previously been injured can overcome his injury now and step in and continue to do his job, but now without risk. Now, in part, of course, I envision that there will be organizations like Red Cross and others that use these, but one of the things I'm already working on is to get in a UN charter that says you allow avatar Wi-Fi access into your country in exchange for anybody who operates an avatar donates 1 day out of the year. I mean, 1 day out of the week. So you can use your thing commercially for mining, for factories, for tourism, for whatever, but One day out of the week, it is usable by the community for local social good, whether it's bringing an agriculturalist in to help better farming, bringing experts in engineering or doctors, whatever you need. I didn't use this slide, but by the way, there's somewhere between 1 and 1.5 billion people on the planet who will never see a doctor. But with avatars, everyone will, and they'll be able to see every expert. So last year at AREI-AREDAY, it was about this time, I had literally just the week before taking over the ANA XPRIZE team. We did an experiment last year, and instead of having the Visioneers, which is about 300 people who come, and they're everyone from Dean Kamen and Paul Jacobs to people like Pharrell Williams and the Duchess of York, they used to come in and pretend to make an XPRIZE. Marcus took over as the CEO, Peter stepped down and just stayed as the chairman. And a new concept, 10 teams with sponsors to create an XPRIZE concept, and then those people would vote literally for 3 days on iPads over 25 categories to see what the next XPRIZE would be. I made a prediction here at AREI-AREDAY that the other 9 teams are actually, they're going to pick 3. So, but anyway, that they should probably just drop out because we would win.
High five.
I'm not going to run the whole thing because I'm
The
short
future
on
might
time.
be closer than you think. You're looking at an avatar, a robot controlled by a human. Now, a team of engineers right now in the South Bay is competing to make an avatar Olympics, the stage for the next XPRIZE competition.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Right up your alley, isn't it?
I would enjoy seeing that. McCullough Medina shows us now how the avatars work and why the team
This is
thinks they're
before
going
we
to
won.
change the world. We'll see.
Here's Pharrell. Okay, put your hands, slap me some skin. Now, I want to point out, that's Pharrell Williams. He just got into this suit less than 3 minutes ago. There's zero training because no one needs to know how to use their own body.
Whoa. So you're here, right?
Yes.
You're seeing me, you can wave at the audience, say hi to everybody. Hey, bro. You can give the audience a finger if you want.
Which finger?
Give him a peace sign, it's whatever you want. See?
So
So you can articulate his finger.
You think he's over there. He thinks he's over there.
So you're here,
So
right?
I'm going to move his consciousness, his awareness is over there.
Sure, right.
I'm going to move
Are
his
you here?
consciousness
Yes.
back to his body.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I'm going to ask him to find himself.
Go ahead.
Whoa.
That's because he just jumped back. Now he jumped back
Where are
again.
you? Look at yourself. Point at yourself.
Whoa.
Notice how long it took him to find. All right, so because we're short on time, we were one of the 3. We started off in last place. It ran Thursday night to Saturday night, and by Friday morning, we were dead last. Because we were up against things like cancer and ALS and what I call the heartstring prizes. But we finished actually in the top. And more importantly, prizes that are considered ready to launch aren't necessarily going to launch. So I went out and raised $22 million in a single meeting with ANA. And so we'll actually be the first prize to launch this fall. So, and you're the first audience hearing that. Don't tweet it. Now, I'm proud of this for a lot of reasons. And one is I took a team over that had already spent all of its money and was doing an actual teleporter. And so I only had 3 months to bring in a new concept. Now, the point of the Avatar XPRIZE for me was literally when you're doing a test demo, I wanted to see if the world was ready for it, and I figured 300 innovators would give me that idea. So we are working, Avatar Industries will be developing, this will be the first avatar, it'll look something like this. We will actually come out way sooner, more than a decade sooner than anyone would think. So our actual, our new demo, which will be a mobile remote one, will be in July of 2018, and we will have a product to market by 2022. These are my founders. They're the League of Extraordinary Women and Gentlemen. A couple of them I can't reveal, but you can't get better than that. So everyone from Neil Jacobstein, who's the head of AI and robotics, to Anusha Anasari, to Ray Kurzweil, to Paul Jacobs, to Nico. Dean Kamen may not officially take the title, but he's the founder, once you hear what's going on. In order to make avatars become real and actually make it an actual product and not a laboratory experiment, I have Magic Leap, DECA, and Qualcomm who've come in to assist. More importantly, Avatar Industries is really a spin-off of DECA Tech. So we have the power base from, and I'll take, I guess, some of my question time. A power base from DECA, over $200 million has gone into this. It is FDA approved. It has had 20 years of deployment and advancement, and the newest one will come out this fall, and it'll come out from Toyota. The Luke arms, I can tell you about 40 million in funding because that's been publicly released. I can't tell you about all the other funding. Are extremely good arms. So if you start with these two things, you're enormously ahead of schedule on your avatar. Of course, Qualcomm, Paul Jacobs is the chairman and was the CEO, can help in a variety of tech. And I can't really tell you what Magic Leap is doing for us, but it's worth a lot. One of the things I can tell you is that one of the options you'll have, besides having a video skull, so you can see yourself as when you enter the robot, people will see your actual head so they can read all that. With Magic Leap, they'll actually see you. So if you're wearing Magic Leap glasses, they'll see you just as you're seeing me. Exactly. So we're expecting actually a pretty quick rise after a lot of money being spent. And the final punchline is we're building this at DECA with Stuart Coulter, who is the guy behind the building of both the arms and of the power base. Anyway, since that was the power through, I could have given you a much more detailed discussion, and I'm happy to do so later. Does anyone have any questions? And by the way, so these were the T-shirts that the team members have and that people got at the Visionary thing, and since we then won, they've become very popular. So I'll start with this young lady here.
Well, first of all, you're an absolute genius, and congratulations on your work. You're amazing, really. But my question has to do with why we're here today. My question has to do with why a lot of us are here today, which is, how do you think that this technology can help us stave off what we're facing, which is our extinction?
Well, so as I mentioned, with avatars, I can now bring collaboration and bring resources, the most important one, to any point on the Earth. And so I can help advance countries, some of the bigger polluters such as China and India, so they'll stop doing those things. Second of all, if I move to a future where people move around the planet via avatars, that's a digital signal. Its carbon footprint is microscopic and can be zero if I'm using solar energy. Try that with a jet. Second, or third, the collaboration, the way that you get to the cures that you're talking about is bringing people together. But if I can do this tomorrow and create a conference anywhere on the planet and then do it the next day and the next day and next day, and you can attend 12 of them in the same day if you wanted, that will get you to a solution much faster. All right, next question. We're doing power question.
Will there be security in place so that your avatar can
Massive security, and I already have a giant security team from Singularity University.
So
security is our
my
number
avatar
one.
can sign a legal contract in China?
Yes.
And the other quick question
No,
is...
you only get one.
Okay.
Go. Yes, you, General.
So, question. The avatar looks fine, but when you're there sitting in the chair with the mask and the things on your hands and stuff, that looks pretty uncomfortable. So are you putting the same engineering effort into the human end as into the avatar end?
Yeah, so for instance, if you've used Magic Leap, which none of you have, it's quite comfortable, and the haptics and all of that we plan on over the next 5 years. So there's two parts. There's the SOL system and the AU, the avatar unit. The SOL is the sensory system. So it stands for, I forget what it stands for. I'm going to hit this guy in the head for sure.
How do you manage, if you have the capacity to be in up to 5 different locations, how do you switch between avatar?
Well, no, you can be in any number of situations. I just wanted to be on 5 continents. In the same way, so I envision a system, and we'll be building that as well as we move forward on the avatars, where we are the Airbnb of robotic bodies. So you'll just simply go on, select a robotic body, and be able to go forward. Yes.
What's the quantity of rare materials that these avatars are going to need to be produced, like battery-wise?
So the key issue right now, which we hope to move past, and we're hoping in 5 years to have graphene batteries instead of the lithium one, which are on the base, and that's the biggest issue. Yeah.
Will the avatar with the DECA arm, Luke arm, I guess, be able to perform brain surgery? Will it be able to fly a helicopter and rescue somebody off of a cliff at 12,000 feet, etc.?
So the first one won't be able to fly a helicopter, but it'll be able to fly a plane, a mining vehicle, or a car. The flying a helicopter is a lot more complicated, and the controls of your legs, if you've ever flown a helicopter. But as we move forward in iterations, yes, eventually it will exponentially improve. And mind you, with DECA's ability, if you know anything about DECA, from the fact they've done everything from the slingshot to the Luke arms, you'll know that we'll get there. So anybody wants to hear about this more, because I got cut short on time, I'm happy to talk to you while I'm here, but I want to be kind to the next speaker.